Good afternoon, Calgary Expo fans. How are you? It's lovely to see you all here this afternoon. You know, we really wanted to end the show this year on a high note, and I really can't think of a better way to do that than having Richard Dean Anderson here. Please welcome him to the stage.
Why don't you guys come down a little closer?
Come closer. We
if
don't
you don't,
bite.
I will. Come on.
Excuse me. How are you?
Oh, I'm a little sweaty, a little hot, slightly constipated, just a tad. But that's, yeah, a little more intimate.
Have you been having a good time this weekend?
I'm sorry?
Have you been having a good time this weekend?
Yeah, I have actually. It's, I used to come play in Calgary a long time ago. Friends of mine were on the mid-80 Calgary Flames, the good guys. Jim Poplinski, Paul Baxter, Danny Quinn, Lanny, of course. They all befriended me for some reason, and they'd come to LA and we'd misbehave, and then I'd come up here and we'd misbehave, but they were always skating, but I became idols and friends.
So I'm really curious about, obviously you portrayed MacGyver. I can't, it's such an iconic character. I can't imagine anybody ever having that role. Like, it has to be you. And do you find that people often confuse you with the character? They come up to you and they're like, I have a paperclip, do something with it.
I get that a lot, and my response, the older I get, the crankier I get. So my response is starting to be like, are you cracked? I mean, you do something with it. I'm too old. Or, can you fix this with a candy bar? I said, no, what are you, mad? I'm much nicer than that, actually. But no, I don't get confused with my characters. People are bright enough to know that I'm an actor, right?
I think you guys know, right? Yeah, no? I don't know. I don't know if they know.
Is she famous here? She wouldn't tell me anything about herself.
Nobody wants to hear about me, Richard. It's about you.
Except me.
So when you first read the script for MacGyver, what did you think? Like, were you reading through this going, he's doing what with what now? What's going on? I don't get it. Or were you like, this is so ingenious?
Well, nobody knew when we started. I had to audition for, what year, 1985, I guess. It was like, I'd been in California for some time, and I was trying to make it as an actor. And things were not rough. I'd done some commercials and such, but one summer day I got on my motorcycle and was riding up the coast, and I stopped and checked my beeper, no phones back then. And my agent called me, said, get over to Paramount, you have an audition for Henry Winkler. So I went over there, and I was just windblown. The original MacGyver jacket that some of you may remember, that brown thing. I was wearing that, my hair was straight back, I looked like a crazed human, and I did a cold reading. But I had to ask them if they would mind if I wore my glasses, because, blind to read anything. And they, as the story goes, all the producers and writers looked at each other and kind of went, he's the guy. Because I had no apprehensions to humanize the moment, and we proceeded from there. And what was the question? I forgot.
Your thoughts on the script when you initially read it?
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't really find out. It took some time to find out what the franchise was going to be, and the writers and producers and such kind of start observing me like I was in a petri dish to see if I brought anything to the party, and they felt as though they could start tapping into the things that I like to do, like car racing and hockey and skiing and all these things. And they started writing scripts around my stuff, which made it, you know, kind of fun, first of all for me, but also it gave us some place to go, and it made playing the character a lot easier, and so they all kind of blended at once. I still lost track of the question.
Did you like the script when you first read it?
What script? No, yeah, it was, again, it took some time. That's what I started to say, is it took some time. It took some time for us to figure out what we had as far as a franchise goes. And once we got some, you know, I think it went 7.5 years, and in about we'd get picked up for 3 episodes, 3, then maybe 6, which was a big celebration, and then another 3, sad face. And then the next season they picked us up, and it was at that point when we got picked up for a second season that we knew we had to kind of solidify the concept and kind of make a commitment to what it was going to be ultimately. And we rolled the dice and went with what you saw, and it became very successful. For my part, I was working. I loved it. It was great. But no, I wasn't taken aback or anything. It wasn't weird to me. I didn't know that it was, at the time I didn't know it was a unique concept. You know, this guy that doesn't use a gun to shoot people to solve the problem was the norm back then, A-Team and those guys. So, but I didn't know. I hadn't watched enough television to know that what we were doing was different. It was a different approach to it. And then once I cleared my head about the whole thing, I realized that we had created something that we could be proud of if we really stood our ground in front of the NRA and the shark fin people. That we started doing more and more profound subjects, and so ultimately it all just kind of evolved the way that I was evolving as well. So in answer to your question, no, I wasn't taken aback. You got to stop me. Somebody's got to. I fell asleep in the middle of that.
How did it affect you, or did it affect you on a more personal level, this idea of no guns and all that kind of thing? Because you did some charity work, as you say, involving the anti-gun type of thing. Did that touch you in a more personal way, or?
Oh, I think so. I'm trying to remember the moment, but it was within my makeup at the time to already in my veins to not like guns in general, as a general statement. There's no need for them on the face of the earth, handguns I'm talking about, because that was the lobby that we came up against, because Macgyver's best friend as a kid got killed because of a handgun. So that was that whole thing going on in Macgyver's head, and that became a big part of his personality. But yeah, I was a big proponent of gun control back then, and we, you know, I thought we were, you know, we were committed to the idea, but I thought we were kind of respectful. Maybe were we? No, I guess not. We didn't. Yeah, basically, I didn't care. I was proud to be on their hit list, the NRA's, and it was an honor actually. So, what? I'm sorry. But yeah.
So, at what point did you realize that MacGyver, as this pop culture phenomenon, would have such longevity? And I'll give you a couple examples. You know, you say the word, oh, just MacGyver it. You know, like that's a thing now. another example, I have a roommate in her 30s who has said she will not get married until she finds a guy that is equatable to MacGyver in both looks and intelligence. So clearly, the role has been very influential for a number of years. At what point did it tweak with you that you knew this is a big thing?
What was a big thing?
You.
Oh,
MacGyver, the series, the role, the concept.
oh God. Doctor, let me tell you. I don't know what to say to that. I've just gone about life, basically, you know, jumping from a job to a job and having the good fortune to be able to have longevity attached to my name as far as the 2 series I've done anyway that people noticed. But I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I was doing a job, and I'm not stupid to not know that some of the stuff that I've done has had an effect. And also, during the mid-MacGyver days, I became aware of the fact that we were in a position to affect some, especially a younger audience, which is what our demographic was pretty much, and families, parents, and they liked MacGyver a lot as well. So that was, once that was realized and, you know, I was growing up, let's face it, hopefully everybody does, but my brain started to expand a little bit and realize that we are in a position to support some really great causes and say some fairly profound things, and trying not to stand on a soapbox while we're doing it. You know, the first thing we're supposed to do is entertain. But it became more fun to try and, you know, get on the NRA's bad list and et cetera, you know, the list.
Fantastic. I think we've got a few questions from the audience, yeah? Oh my, you guys are so quiet. Why are you so quiet?
They're just odd.
Who wants to ask a question? There you go.
I gotta loosen my pants.
All right, we'll start here on the left.
I can barely breathe. God, sorry. Excuse me.
Oh my.
Truly, you could tell, right? While I was talking, I couldn't breathe. It was me pants. Thank you. Anything too tight on you?
I hope my roommate's here for this.
What?
No, I'm all right. I'm breathing okay, yeah. Does it look like something's too tight on me? Okay. All right. So,
I mentioned your socks.
I know, my sock is sticking out of my shoe a little bit. It's a little bit embarrassing.
It's disgusting.
I'm sorry.
I'm gagged. What was the question?
I love New York.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'd just like to say that I really, really love all of the shows that you've done, and I really like your singing voice. I had an opportunity to listen to...
What?
Yeah.
Well, well, well.
I just seen a couple clips that I thought it was really good, but
Where'd you hear my singing voice? YouTube? What am I doing?
It was YouTube, somewhere.
Doing what?
I think...
Come on, what?
When I think you were playing Adam.
Oh, God. Busted.
Yeah, just randomly. So my question is, what exactly drives you to be an actor? Like, what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, it's not my singing voice, that's for sure. Well, as the story goes, I got interested in acting when I went to, my father was a speech and English teacher and also developed a humanities course at a high school in Minneapolis. But he also directed the plays. And as a young boy, I started to tag along for rehearsals to his school. He taught at a different school than I would go to eventually. But I remember seeing the rehearsals of a play that they were doing, and I was just fascinated. And mind you, I was very young. And I was trying to think of how young. But I was out of diapers for sure. But I remember watching the rehearsals and being fascinated by I was envious. There was at one point in the script they had somebody had to come on stage and deliver a birthday cake. But for the rehearsals, instead of baking a cake or whatever, they had Hostess Twinkies. They brought out a tray of Hostess Twinkies. Now, I was a young boy, and I virtually lived on Twinkies. And I swear to God, the thought was sewn in my head that is any job I could ever get that I get free Twinkies is something I wanted to do.
That's fair enough.
That's well worth applause. Yes, thank you.
And over here.
First of all, I just want to say this is very cool that you're here in Calgary. And my question is, I think all of us who have grown up with MacGyver and watched MacGyver,
How old are you?
I'm 36.
Are you really? You look
Yes.
like you're like 14 from here.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I've had moments over my life where I thought I could do something because MacGyver could, and most of the time they backfired. I'm wondering if you've ever had any moments like that, and if not, what have you taken from that character?
Deep audience today.
Well, I've had back surgery, 2 knee surgeries, foot surgery. What did I take from the experience? Well, it was kind of a launching pad for a lot of things in my life, not the least of which was, I don't know if I made it clear when I was on my motorcycle and I had to ride over and do the audition. At that point in time, I was ready to just, acting business, it's too much of a phony laced business, and I like riding my motorcycle, and I'm living in California, and la-di-da. But it became apparent that it was something that I liked doing, and short of going in deep into the type of therapy acting can be, I realized that, despite what you see today, I was kind of not shy, but observant, reticent to, get immediately involved in conversation or anything like that. So it was good to be able to be forced to have to actually say some words to another human being. It sounds like a crock, doesn't it? It just really does. But some of that is true. And so you figure out what it is and get back to me, okay? But, well, anyway, I was never fooled by the fact that I was, it was a job, but it meant something in that afterwards I was able to get another job, and it was like I was building something, and that I was still too young and dumb to realize that, hey, this is pretty cool. Maybe I should stick with this and be serious. Because during hiatus on MacGyver, I would jump on a plane and fly to Amsterdam or England or wherever. I started doing my traveling around the world instead of, hustling up and getting a TV movie or something, or taking classes, bettering my craft. To me, I wanted to, go see what Saint-Tropez was like in the summer. And it's pretty cool. If you have money, by the way. But, so anyway, it was kind of a springboard. I had more confidence after that to do things. Because everything I'd learned in school, this is the point, everything I'd learned in school, not everything, but most of the stuff some of the stuff. Nothing I learned in school did I use in getting another job. That's not true. I did learn some things, and well, not too many things, but
Please tell me that you learned some things, because I'm a teacher too.
wish you'd started with that. Oh, truly, no, I did. No, really.
Stay in school, kids.
It was a really great experience for me. I was young, I was drinking. What else? Anyway, I survived, and here I am today, talking to a 14-year-old teacher.
And over here we have a question.
Hi, I was just wondering on the MacGyver series, what was your favorite task that you accomplished, or machine that you built with like nothing, pretty much?
Let me think. Well, I honestly, I have very few brain cells left to be able to recall the specifics of things, but I do remember, in fact, Mythbusters did a thing on, yeah, it was kind of cool, but they busted a myth that we tried to create by building a hang glider out of bamboo, and which, by the way, weighs a lot. It's not a real lofty. Well, anyway, the materials they proved us wrong. So anyway, but it was fun to shoot the pieces, putting it together, and I think that we did it kind of in a montage of things. But that was kind of fun, and it flew. No, it didn't. It crashed. That's all I can really remember because it was a big one. And of course, the first one was taking a candy bar and jamming it into a crack of acid, or a crack in a vat that was leaking acid, which one could actually do with chocolate, the components of which would stop the flow of this particular acid that we were using. However, you'd need 3 tons of it, not a candy bar. So theoretically, spot on.
And over to this side.
Hi, Richard. I just want to start off with a comment on my personal life. I always carry a Swiss Army knife on me, and it just happens sometimes that I got to repair something, or just for a friend or something. And a lot of times when I'm done, they say, "Thanks a lot, MacGyver." And to me, that is the highest compliment I could ever get in life.
That's nice.
Well, almost. My question for you is, when you look at MacGyver in all the shows, all the different skills that he has and all the knowledge that he has, you just wonder, where would he have acquired that knowledge? In what field of education, or what kind of training would prepare somebody to become MacGyver?
It's just innate skill. I don't just didn't study, didn't do. No, he went.
He was a chemist, wasn't he? I thought, wasn't he a chemist? Physicist, yeah.
Yeah, he was a chemist. Chemist.
Yeah, but he had a lot of knowledge on mechanics. He used to jimmy a car while it was careening out of control. And I know some chemists, and they don't know how to fix a car.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was a physics major or so. No, I think what we did is it wasn't general science. I know there was something specific like that. Endocrinologist, possibly. But we took alluded to his basic science education, and coupled it with some kind of secret past military thing that he did. We didn't speak about too much. I don't know why, but oh yes I do, but I'm not going to tell you. No, I really don't know. I just said that. But you know, I get asked a lot, are you a lot like MacGyver? Are you, you know, can you do all those things? And it's not so much a matter of being able to do those specific things that MacGyver did, but it's a mode of thought. It's how you look at things, you observe. And I'm trying to teach this to my daughter right now. But she's a 14-year-old teenage girl hitting hormones and boys and oh, you know.
How does a boy?
You're 14, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well done, God.
How does a guy ask out MacGyver's daughter? How do you do that?
Well, he had a son, first of all. So, Well, what do you mean?
Well, if I was a guy and I wanted to ask out a girl and I found that her dad was MacGyver, I would be a little bit concerned.
Oh my God, he'd have so many bases covered, like I will. Right now, it's great. The real life of me is dealing with, I don't mean to change the subject, but I will. Dealing with those aspects of real life. Who asked that question, by the way? Is it over here? Who asked the question?
He's sitting down. Where'd he go?
You're up there?
How'd you move so fast?
Well, what was your question is what I want to know. What was it out here, the original question? It's a test, come on. Skill sets, thank you. Stay close. I'm going backwards now. So I I grew up with that particular, not as sharp and as clean as, MacGyver had, because he had a bank of writers to fix things for him. But I've gone through life kind of just, well, like most of the guys in here, I would imagine, have that kind of knack of looking like a problem like that, like a dog that might be slightly, inquisitive. It's like, how can I fix that? Most guys will do that. No? Guess not. Yeah, see? But in solving a problem, it's looking at the pieces, getting down into it. We just happen to take that concept and blow it up a little bit, or personify it into a character that could fix anything. Well, almost anything.
And over here, yeah.
Hi. I wanted to ask, we were in your Stargate panel yesterday, and you said that you didn't mind the words too much and improvised a lot, and I was curious, what was it like in MacGyver? Did you put a lot of yourself into it? Did you mind a lot what your script writers wrote?
Well, you'll notice that MacGyver didn't say a lot. My input was, mostly during MacGyver, my input would be, I can do that. I can ride that motorcycle. I can jump out of that airplane. I can go have back surgery while the summer passes. What's that? What was the question?
I don't even know anymore.
How much did you improvise?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm sorry. I was just improvising there, see? No, MacGyver was a different animal altogether. I couldn't do, because so many things had to fit. It's like in shooting MacGyver, you have to see MacGyver going along life, stopping, looking, seeing the problem, cut back, looking around to find the solution to the problem, back to the problem, back to MacGyver running to get the solution and stuff together, back to the problem as the fuse slowly comes toward that bomb. And then you see MacGyver putting it together and sweating, looking at his watch, and over to the beautiful lady to his right. And then you see the solution to it. So things had to fit properly, and you couldn't really, except within the framework of a cut, you couldn't really improvise. It had to be pretty specific because our credibility was stretched to the max as it was. So for me to be fooling around wasn't very healthy or productive. Jack O'Neill, however, totally different animal. We'll enter into that next chapter.
And over here.
What was your favorite invention or escape in the MacGyver series?
I can actually remember what I thought was the funniest escape. What happened in the first year, yes, it was the first year episode, because we used, in the very beginning, we did these openers, these escape things that took forever to shoot, and it just undermined our abilities to shoot an entire episode without going into overtime. So this was an episode where MacGyver had gone into East Germany, apparently. There any East Germans here? Sorry. Not a political crowd, I guess. MacGyver had gone into East Germany. He had saved the day, but now he had to get back across the border. And how does he do that? But he somehow gets himself into you cut to MacGyver inside a casket, right? And do you know what a casket is? He's lost interest.
A coffin.
Right. Better. Coffin. Okay. Sarcophagus. No. He's in a casket, a coffin, and he's being carried across towards the border between East and West Germany. Well, somehow the bad guys from back on the East German shoreline or whatever start blowing their whistles like they always do and say, "Stop that coffin." And so MacGyver knows something's wrong. And the next move I'm not real sure of. But anyway, he ends up somehow, or I guess they ditched the coffin into the river. So MacGyver's going to die, except somehow he's fashioned this coffin into a jet ski. And off he went, la-di-da, jet spray in the back. I mean, I'm surprised I stuck with the show that long after that. But, you know, in retrospect, it was funny. At the time, embarrassing.
We've got time for one more question. So, yeah, it went quick, didn't it? Two more. Yeah, quarter two. So,
Thanks very much for coming. Big fan of everything pretty much you've done that I can remember. The question I wanted to ask was, had the iconic role of MacGyver, Jack O'Neill. What's next for Richard Dean Anderson, other than raising a 14-year-old girl? Because I have a 15-year-old girl and I know what it's like.
You bragging that your daughter's older than mine? Is that what you do?
I got an 18-year-old son.
Step outside. No, I mean it. Get out. You know what? What I've been doing is, I'd never thought of this until somebody said, "Well, you're a philanthropist." I said, "Well, I don't think so. I like women. You know, it's." But it was one of those deals where, you know, raising a daughter as a single dad is, I just want to be available for her. I don't want to be off somewhere, and because she's an only child, although she now has a stepsister, and her mom takes relatively good care of her, I suppose. But I like being around for her when she needs me. I mean, the last text I got from her was, "Dad, I miss you. I really wish I could come over right now." Of course, I'm in Calgary at the time, so it's safe for her to say that. Kids. But the philanthropy part of it, I've been working with the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society for many years. And a lot of stuff, thank you. A lot of things have been happening in the Antarctic. We're trying to, most of you were probably here the other day, and hopefully you all know that we've been trying to protect the marine mammals, but especially the whales of the Australian, I forget, I want to be so cool and know thank you. Thank you, Paul. Yes, the Arctic Reserve, Australian Arctic Reserve, where a lot of species of whales are floating around down there, and they consider that their home, their habitat, basically. And the Japanese whaling industry goes down there annually and just slaughters them, takes them back under the phony idea of scientific research, right? Well, for years and years, decades, they were killing far more than they needed for any quota to be met. And it was at that time when Captain Paul Watson and the Conservation Society, Sea Shepherds, started going down there and chasing them around and trying to block their way, get in their way, you know, tangle their engines, whatever it would take to save the whales and not let them take anywhere near their quota. And we've come to the point this year, this last campaign, where hopefully you guys will go home and Google it and take a look at what's been happening. But we were able to stop the whalers this year virtually dead in the water. They had to abandon one of their ships, Paul, was it I don't know, the ship that carries all the whales and stuff like that, where the transfer is just a bloody, horrific thing to watch. But they had to abandon that ship because it was running out of gas from us chasing it and impeding its way. So in other words, they didn't get any whales. So we're starting to feel successful-ish, but we'll never be able to not hopefully we do, because it would be nice if the World Whaling Association would take some action and tell the Japanese, stop it. But everybody's afraid of, you know, the import, the export, the money, deep pockets in Japan. And so anyway, it goes on. I could go on. Somebody say no. Say no. No, Rick!
I'm sure every single one of us would love to hear more, but we're out of time, I'm afraid.
I'm not.
Marissa, can we go 5 more minutes? Yes? Was that Marissa? Can we go? Yeah, we can go 5 more minutes. I got permission. That's the 5 more minutes signal. We got it.
He's down. So we went through all that, and there are no questions. Great. Good night, everyone.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay. Hi there, Richard. My question is, what are your thoughts about Facebook, Twitter? I know as a fan, it's great to see people that I admire just interacting with us on that kind of personal basis.
Well, I think it's just fine. I don't know if anybody's seen my Twitters, but yeah, right. I got accused of making absolutely no sense a couple of times. People wondering, what is he smoking? He's like, half the time I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just being impulsive, or there's a thought. And mostly around the elections, I was being real mouthy about despising the Republican Party, and especially the candidate we were running for president. It was imperative we got Obama back in there. But anyway, what? No.
You all right?
You ask me what I'm doing next?
That was the last question. Oh. Are you a Facebook guy? Do you use Facebook?
Do I what?
Do you use Facebook?
Well, again, Facebook and Twitter. I don't know. I think I might have a, does anybody know, do I have a Facebook? Because I think I was on my computer one time and Facebook, this was like years ago, and I said, oh, Facebook, well, type, send. And suddenly the next morning, actually the story was there was a friend of mine who was, you'll see why I was lightening it up, was dying of brain cancer, and he asked me if I would join Facebook so we could share stuff. And I said, yeah, sure. I joined. We started texting, or what do you say, voice booking?
Yeah.
Facebooking. Yeah. And, and that when I was all well and fine, virtually the next morning, I woke up to having like 10,000 friends that I didn't even know. I mean, come on. And I obviously didn't know how things like that ran, and I left myself open for my blood type and urine samples and address, phone numbers, and everything. So I had to, have somebody teach me. But so I settled on Twitter. What is it? Twitter. Am I impressing you? I got her right here. She's impressed by my intellect. So I just, every once in a while, I'll tweet.
Beautiful. All right, that's it, guys. We got to wrap it up. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a great weekend for me.